how do Democrats get the media to talk about our popular economic ideas? How do we get, the terrain of the campaign to be fought on these popular economic ideas that we have? I think there's a couple things that we can do to make this happen. So I think the first thing is just that one way to get people to talk about economic ideas is to not have unpopular positions on other issues that voters care a lot about. It's going to be harder for you. It's going to distract from your economic message if you're getting hit from the right on issues like immigration or crime. And I think you can see this with something like Donald Trump's 2024 campaign. So, for example, Trump took some issues off the table for us by becoming more moderate on those issues. And those, I think, were big issues for Obama in 2012. They've always been big issues for Democrats. I think the two big issues in that camp are Social Security and Medicare, which are huge issues for Democrats. They've been the core of our platform for decades and decades. And Trump just said, look, I'm not going to cut Social Security. I'm not going to cut Medicare. And I think it became a lot harder for Democrats to get attention on attacking Republicans on Social Security and Medicare once Trump said, I'm not going to cut them. I think a lot about somebody like Janelle Stelson, who very few people on this listening to this podcast have probably heard of. Janelle Stelson is a Democratic candidate. She ran way ahead of Kamala Harris. She lost by about 1% to a very right-wing Republican named Scott Perry on the Pennsylvania 10th. And Stelson had a debate with Perry. And the headline coming out of the debate was Stelson and Perry differ on abortion, agree on immigration. And I think there's a real question of, that's a very good headline for a lot of Democrats to get, because that, emphasizes this position of abortion that voters really agree with. And the question is, how did Stelson get the media to write an article about that? Well, it's because she neutralized Perry's advantage on immigration by saying, she really supported a secure border and she cared a lot about that. And I think this is, should be instructive for a lot of Democrats, which is if you want, reporters, if you want journalists, if you want voters to care more about economic issues, a really good way to do that is to take that lesson from Trump on Social Security and Medicare and to neutralize Republicans' advantage on these other issues that voters care a lot about, particularly immigration, particularly crime.